will have full previews of the Royal Rumble, the NXT versus NXT UK show. Oh, what's
Worlds
that called?
collide. When worlds collide,
When Worlds Collide. My bad.
which is a good idea. They are taking those brand rivalries and awesome shit.
And we'll talk a little bit about NWA Hard Times.
Hard times. Well, hard times, daddy, if you will.
That was actually yesterday, but we have not yet seen it. So next week's show will be action-packed with reviews of all those shows.
Oh, yes.
But for right now, we are wrestling with the Wednesday Night Wars. We are in. It's been a while since we've been into the Wednesday Night Wars, and this is AEW's first pre-tape during this time.
Yeah, because I kind of figured they were trying to do it from a boat. I don't think international laws is gonna let you have arrest motherfuckers moving around while they're on a boat. I don't think that's the safest thing in the world.
Oh, I could imagine. Would you ever go on a wrestling cruise?
I always thought about going on the first one because I thought it was going to be the only one, but now when it seems like he's going to do one every freaking year, it's like, okay, I'll wait. But I know a lot of people who have been on those.
Yeah.
Or that are currently on them and probably jumped off. I'm trying to figure out where these people get their money because these motherfuckers, they jumped on the cruise, they hopped off the cruise, jumped straight to Houston for the Royal Rumble. And I'm like, I need to have y'all jobs. I need y'all jobs because that's a lot of money to be popping off in a week.
Yeah. If any of those people want to adopt me, I'm available.
That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's like 99% of the wrestling community. That's how we feel about people who always be at these goddamn shows. I need your job. Give me your job.
Well, some of them, I actually know a couple of those people. And some of them I don't, but they have to have ins and connections with those companies in order to get those tickets, right?
Yeah, because I had an in, and I used my in, so hey.
And to the cruise thing, I mean, if it left port in California, I would probably go.
Oh yeah, next year. I think they're trying to do something next year. They're gonna do the AEW thing next year. But what they're thinking of is, and what I've been hearing, is that it's going to be because they want to bring in some 6-man tag titles. So they want to do a 6-man tag title tournament on the next one. So next year.
That might be something.
So if y'all are enticed on this and all my AEW people want to jump on and want to see new champs, save up for next year, baby.
And come out of port in Los Angeles.
Oh, man, they ain't coming out to the port of Los Angeles. I wish, but, I mean, it makes sense. It's like they have yet to hit, like I feel like AEW hasn't even passed the Mississippi River line yet. Like, they haven't even passed the Mississippi River as far as touring. Like, they've been sticking with East Coast, and that makes sense because most of the loyal fans are there, so it makes sense.
Now, since we already kind of been talking about AEW so far, what do you think of the show? I mean, I think it's the first ever televised wrestling event that's been broadcast from a boat.
I mean, that's interesting. But I did have one observation, and this is not the knock, but every time the one thing everyone kept telling me about AEW, right, was that it's gonna be unscripted, it's gonna be more adult oriented, and all this other stuff. And the one thing that I noticed more than anything else was when the crowd was trying to make chants and the chants had certain obscenities, TNT made sure to shut that shit down. They literally edited out the thing. They were literally editing it out.
Well, I mean, it was more it was more of the harsher activities, right? Because
No.
Cody said
Even
asshole on TV and
no,
didn't do that.
no. I'm talking to not the wrestlers, the crowd.
But they were pretty rowdy.
I mean, but what did they expect? They knew what they were getting.
Did they though? I mean, I don't think you go on a
TNT
boat.
knew damn well what the hell they were getting. Come
I don't think you go on a boat thinking you're gonna get an ECW crowd.
on. You don't think? You also don't think you're gonna get a bunch of children on a boat as well.
I don't see any children in that crowd.
That's my point. So they knew what they were getting. Yeah. Yes, that's me.
I mean, one of the biggest things to come out of this show, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page won the tag team championships. Like,
And
what the fuck? I mean, honestly.
I know what the story is, what they're trying to do. Because if you watch Being the Elite, Hangman Page went on a kind of like a solo. He kind of split from the group per se and wanted to find himself, but he ended up finding himself tagging with Kenny, and now they're champs, and Kenny and Hangman is seeing like where, oh my God, every time we're out doing the show, the Young Bucks are here, and they don't really care about me, they care about him type deal. That's why you see him every time when they come around, he has like this snarky ass attitude, and he's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm out. So
Right.
it's kind of like that one mean girl that's like, fuck all you, and then all the other girls are like, oh my God, what did he do? What did we do? Type shit. So but
But
it's
I
gonna
mean,
work.
you have one of the best wrestlers in the world, Kenny Omega, who has 7-star matches in the Tokyo Dome.
36-star
You
matches per.
put him in a tag team to win the tag team championships. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
there's a rivalry there, but it don't make sense to me. Why put the belts on them?
Well, because everyone kind of thought the Bucks were gonna be that obvious choice, so it's kind of like a diversion from that swerve. And I feel like that's gonna be the eventual play, is that the Bucks are gonna get the belt. But it gives them a reason to go after the belt. You know what I mean? Other than just going for them sakes. Because the one line that Hangman Page put on the Bucks were, "Hey, y'all are the greatest tag team, and we won them before you did." So that kind of stuck in me a little bit when I was jotting my notes. When I looked
Yeah.
at my notes, that was the one liner that kind of stuck out. So that's telling me, okay, the Bucks are gonna come for them.
You think we're gonna see Hangman and Kenny versus the Bucks?
It's gonna have to happen. It's gotta happen. And this is where Kenny is gonna be stuck with the unenviable task of trying to take sides. And he better be careful which side he's choose, because he's gonna fuck around and lose.
Next match would be Chris Jericho and Santana and Ortiz, and they wrestle Jurassic Express. I mean, it's Chris Jericho's cruise. The only reason they're doing anything on a cruise is because of Chris Jericho. And the
Yeah.
man of the hour, Who did he beat? Marco fucking Stunt.
Of course. And you know what's crazy? I I felt like the commentary there was lacking. And the reason I say it was lacking for this, because when Chris Jericho hit his elbow, like it made the commentary team made it seem like it was a regular move until old boy was like, oh, there's the Judas effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that they were.
And last up would be John Mox would win the #1 contenders match with one eye. Yeah. So yeah, very gimmicky.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, what do we expect, man? It just. I guess they're free though. At least they're free. They're free to do what they want, right?
Alright, so what was your favorite moment from this week's AEW?
Honestly, I there wasn't really a moment that stood out. Like, and everyone's gonna go to the ratings and be like, "Oh my God, they won the ratings," blah 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 blah, and that's fine. But to me, there was nothing that stood out that made a star, right? That made an undeniable star. So, I mean, take that as you will, but the whole point of having that company is to make stars and to make certain people in the household names. And to me, who have they made a star since that show has started? Who has been made a star other than MJF?
I might say Private Party. But it's funny you say that because, me and Scooter was reviewing last week's show, and he kinda touched on the exact same thing you just said. What stars have they made?
Yeah,
And
like
he kinda couldn't really come up with a favorite moment either for that show.
yeah, it's really really tough because I see what and everyone's gonna say, yeah, the wrestling and it's actual wrestling and it's not sports entertainment. But the point of the wrestling is to get somebody to that level, and I don't see it. I mean, I could be blind, but I don't see it.
What was your least favorite segment?
Oh, let me see. The least favorite segment. I'm trying to think. Their women's division is just ass. Their women's division is just ass to me. Seriously, it's just not happening.
And if what moment made you want to change the channel to NXT?
Ample opportunity of getting on my undivided attention.
Yeah, but if you was watching them back to back, which one would you say, okay, I could skip this match, see what NXT is doing?
The women's match.
And that brings us to NXT, which was a pretty decent show, if I do say so myself. Lots of big things going uh, on the last show before going to Worlds Collide against the NXT UK. What did you think of the show?
But yeah, I mean, that show to me was better because it had something to look forward to as far as like worlds collide.
And those big things that did happen was uh the Broserweights, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne are advancing in the Dusty World Classic to take on the Grizzled Young Veterans. Um, I mean, I don't think a lot of people expected these two tag teams to be the last two in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I guess this show it 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 built stars because they have this big program coming up Saturday, so they have to make everyone look strong. My only bad parts about it were the two consecutive dirty finishes back to back. I think that was an issue. But I get why they did it to try to keep everybody on level heading into the show. But
And
other than that, it was a really good show, and it did what it's supposed to do and made some stars.
the star, obviously the star that was made that night was Keith Lee. He won the North American Championship against Roderick Strong, who did an incredible job as champion.
Oh yeah, that was the match of the night because they gave them time.
But I agree with you, but does it kind of take away from Keith Lee moment that it was on NXT TV and not, a takeover?
No, it's just I got home and I was like,
Well, it's because I see why they did it because they did it then to show the chink in the armor for the Undisputed Era, right? Because the Undisputed Era has been running, to be quite honest, other than Keith Lee, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, Undisputed Era. Those are like the people that have been running like white hot since Survivor Series. So the point of it was to show that there was a chink in the armor of the Undisputed Era, in my opinion, because keep in mind, not only Roderick Strong lost, but O'Reilly and Fish lost. So you see what I'm saying? So it just showed like that they had to spend the night watching their backs, and the paranoia costed them.
True, but like, don't you think that it may have been, it would have been worth more if it would have been on like a takeover?
Yeah, but that's considering if they had a takeover this Saturday. I think they would have done it if it was a takeover this Saturday. But the next takeover isn't until Takeover Portland, if I'm not mistaken. So why would they wait that long on something where why delay that inevitable,
Pull the
right?
trigger now.
Yeah, because we always get on WWE for not pulling the trigger immediately, and this is one instance where they're like, "Yo, let's pull that trigger." Why
And
why would we hesitate?
and we are being joined by our second co-host, Scooter Dust.
Dub 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 dub.
Scoot, scoot, scoot.
And we were talking about Keith Lee winning the North American Championship. I was maybe on the fence of maybe it should have been on NXT TV and maybe saved for a takeover. What were your thoughts, Scooter?
Well, considering the fact that they're building to the since Undisputed Era is going up against Imperium, they needed a way for the Undisputed Era to look weak without Imperium having a direct effect, just an indirect effect, on this match, and therefore Imperium now has the psychological advantage, or neutralized, because the Undisputed Era is going into this having lost, 25% control of their brand, essentially. So,
See? Oh my god.
I mean, I'm all for C3 winning it. I think it was the right thing to do. Would I have held off on it? I probably would have, as these NXT title changes are becoming more and more prevalent on TV, and it makes me think they're going to get to a point where they're going to realize they shouldn't be giving these matches away, and I think this is going to lead to a monthly takeover from now on after WrestleMania.
I don't think that's maybe the smartest thing to do, but WWE does find ways to ruin great things in the past.
Yes, that is true.
But it sounds like you're on my side though a little bit.
Well, I would say I am. Yeah.
The only reason that's what I was saying. I told him, like, if it wasn't like for the Worlds Collide, then that would have been a different story. But because I think it would have been this Saturday if it wasn't for that.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. You came in before we did after we did AEW. So could you maybe tell us what your favorite moment was from this week's AEW?
Not watching it since it was pre-taped.
Oh, that's convenient. So you were full on NXT this week.
Yep, full on NXT.
Now, what was your favorite moment from NXT this week?
Pete Dunne almost killing himself.
Oh, that's a good one. What about you, Coleco?
Actually, but I would have to say, Shotzi Blackheart's outing against Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I was kind of in the same boat. I kind of like
That was a good match.
Yeah.
A little sloppy at the beginning, but they picked it up.
Talking about a good women's division. What was your favorite moment, Coleco?
From an African American perspective, Keith Lee, but from the wrestling perspective, honestly, the Dakota Kai.
Oh.
And this is why, because they're making their division kind of count and matter when they're doing like video promos over a best friend feud. They're like miles ahead of bloody AEW when it comes to that division. And that's why I say that, because they're making every woman seem important.
Yep. Speaking of Dakota Kai, am I the only one that thinks Tegan Nox looks like a thinner Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
Plausible. Yep.
Because when she came up on my screen, I'm like, wow, we're doing something with Ronda. And I realized, oh, it's Tegan Nox.
Every time I see Tegan Nox wrestle, I kind of cringe thinking she's going to get injured again.
But she has the shiniest wizard.
Well, it doesn't stop her from breaking her knees. And what was the worst moment from NXT this week? Scooter?
Hmm. The probably mm, probably not letting uh probably not letting Tony Storm and Io Shirai do what they do best, and just using that as a throwaway uh to not not just push Worlds Collide, but to push Takeover Portland too. Not
And
saying it
what?
was a
Yeah.
bad thing, but it was just the worst of the worst of the decent.
And they are pretty good workers. Um, but maybe Io had evil on her mind.
You
What about you, Coleco? What did you think was the worst segment from NXT?
I'd have to agree with the Tony EO because I would have thought they would have gave them more time. Also, the Angel Garza promos, like I see what they're trying to do, but you could tell like he's not comfortable speaking English, and it just shows. And they gotta set him up to his strengths rather than his weaknesses.
I actually disagree with that. I kinda on I'm kinda on the Angel Garza bandwagon. I think he's not. You're right. You're right. He's not the best at promos, but he's definitely going to get there. But when it comes to Mexican wrestlers, I kind of find him to be one of the most charismatic in WWE right now.
know what? I think we can all agree that he is the best Garza that is still alive.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Alright, Scooter, you're watching NXT. Something's not to your liking. You want to see the train wreck. You want to switch the channel to see the train wreck that is AEW. What segment do you do that on?
Which segment do I do that on NXT, or which segment do I tune into AEW for?
What segment of NXT do you change the channel to AEW?
Oh God, probably the commercials.
What about
Yeah,
you?
them commercials be whack though.
What about you,
Them
Kaliko?
commercials.
Like
Them commercials.
quite honestly, I didn't switch because I read up on the spoilers, and congratulations to Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. Yeah, if I had read that somebody was going to get thrown overboard, I might have actually switched over.
I
But
think anybody would have.
I mean, they didn't even knock over the all-you-can-eat shrimp buffet.
Because that's possibly because Jericho was paying for it and he didn't want his money to go to waste.
He wanted all the shrimp to himself. It's my shrimp.
I mean, if you looked at that gut, you could tell there was nothing but shrimp in there.
Yeah.
What
I
about
think
you, Kaliko? Any segments that made you want to switch the channel?
Um, Not really from NXT. I mean, NXT they tried to like everything had a build to it because we know where it's going. So it kind of drew me in more than any other week because we know that this was the go home for Worlds Collide. So there were like more consequences to be put in place.
So we're pretty unanimously uh favoring NXT over AEW this week.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, personally for me, yeah. And everyone's going to sit there and yell the ratings and blah, blah, blah. To me, I really don't care because both of them lost to the freaking NBA, Zion Williamson's debut on freaking NBA TV. So to me, ratings don't mean nothing. I just think NXT had the more coherent storyline because we know that there's a big time showdown that was coming up. Vice, AEW, they're still trying to build to Revolution, which is a whole month away. So they got time to BS a little bit.
I just find it funny that we can't find anything good to say about AEW, and we have nothing bad to say about NXT.
NXT smells funny.
Well, it's not like I'm
That's probably
crapping
because
on
of the crowd.
AEW.
Good
It's not like I'm not crapping on AEW. I just think that they're not building stars. They're just pretty much running a show. I mean, they're no different than ROH to me. Like they're right at this point. They're not going, oh my God, Jungle Boy is becoming a star by upsetting Jericho in a non-title match. If that would have been a star, you see what I'm saying? But
Right.
they're not doing anything, so why would I invest?
And that concludes our coverage of the Wednesday Night Wars.